Have you ever wondered what do Russian officers do with the soldiers who refuse to go to meet assaults? What do they do with refuseniks? What do they do with soldiers who drink and do drugs on the front? Well, I got very interested in this topic and I looked through all of the videos that explain to me what the officers do. I found out that they can all be listed into 5 different punishment methods that the Russian army uses. I've listed them for you in chronological order by the most popular to the least popular, and in this video we're gonna go through them one by one. And number 1 is of course thrown into a pit. Russian officers, they love pits. Why? Well, they can make the culprits dig their own pit. They dig it and then the officers force the culprits down there. They take away the food, water, medical and clothing, or they don't. Well, the troops are down there and you only need one troop to guard 5, 10, perhaps 15 soldiers down in the pit. It's fast, it's easy, it's simple, you don't really have to think much, and it does the job. This is what these pits look like. Very primitive. The cages are made with branches you find in the woods, and sometimes they're just left open because nobody's gonna try to climb out anyway because there are guards outside. Alright, let's get into specific cases. This is January 2023, the first video I ever saw of the pit, and you can see it here. It's an open air pit and these are Russian army ammo boxes filled with sand, and they're put on top of this pit as a weight to push down the cage. In this pit is a corporal and a few privates of the 1430th Regiment. They were put into the pit for drinking and they have to spend 7 more days in the pit. You can see there's a sleeping bag, they have their clothes, and there's a bottle of water right here and food also. So I gotta say they got it easy, because we have some videos coming that are not so plentiful of supplies. In this one we can see 8 men in a cellar. It's a pit or a cellar, well, it's similar in functioning. These 8 men refuse to go on a meat assault because they say that they have been 9 months already in the 0 line and they have gotten no leave at all. They are refused permit to the city, they are refused a permit to rest, and they say they are sent with machine guns against tanks. No radio, no communications, and no officers to go with them. As you can see, they are clothed, they have a mattress, a water bottle. I presume they're given food also. So the factor that's supposed to do the remotivation effect here is time. Not hunger, not thirst, but time. They have to spend sometimes weeks, sometimes months in such pits or cellars. Now we level up, my friends. It's November 2023 and this is an open air pit. These are 6 men inside and I'm in November. Ukraine, or I should say occupied Ukraine. During the daytime sun shines and you get some heat, but in the nighttime it gets chilly, and as you can see they have no shirts. This is deliberate. The officers want some of them to die of hypothermia so the others learn the lesson. And what do the officers want from the others? Well, they want 400,000 rubles. Yes, it's that simple. They want a fixed amount of money to let these guys out. Of course, they don't have 400,000 rubles, so the officers allow them to call home to the mother, to the father, to the wife, to sell something. A car, an apartment, whatever they have, send the money to the soldier, and the soldier can send it to the officer, and then he's let out of the pit. So yes, it's an extraction scheme. Now we're getting to 2024 and this next cellar pit is filled with drunkards and refuseniks. They're both thrown in here together, and as you can see it's filled to the brink because there's many of those in this specific location. The officers are demanding 1,650 USD to 11,000 USD. You heard correctly, $11,000 from these refuseniks to let them out. Again, they allow these guys to call home, to ask their wife or father or mother to sell something and send the money. Otherwise, they would remain in this pit cellar forever. These are what you would call a soldier slave of the Russian army, and the officers are making a lot of money off of these soldier slaves. This next case is August 2024, a lone refusenik in a pit. Notice that he is clothed. I'm guessing he was forced to dig this pit alone. I have dug a hole like that. I don't know if you have, but it's a lot of work. If you do it that alone, I mean, this is hours of digging right here. They probably forced him to do that, and now he has to spend, what, a week, a month in this pit. Now, my friends, we're getting more organized. This is August 2024. 272nd Motorized Rifle Regiment has sent up an entire military prison system and a torture block for refuseniks. What they do with them you can see in this video. This is an abandoned building, a destroyed building, a bombed building, and it's cold. So they handcuff the refuseniks to the water piping, and they won't let them out until they sign a paper saying they agree to go to a meat assault. So it's all volunteer based, or is it? In Russia, the whole army is volunteer based, but it's not. They get that signature out of you one way or another. These next ones are 4 men of the 239th Tank Regiment of the 90th Division. They're 4 men in a pit. 3 of them don't have clothes, 1 does. This pit is so small, 2 of them have to crouch and 2 of them can stand, but they cannot do that all together. They have to switch. And this one, for some reason, is clothed. The others are not. I don't know why. Sometimes the volunteers who join the Russian army, they're old. In this specific case, it's a 62-year-old grandfather, a dedushka. He forgot his radio on the post. Now, this is a big crime in any army because the enemy can get a hold of your communications, they can listen in. You have to redo the entire radio doctrine. It's really bad. How do the Russians punish this? Well, they put him in a pit, no clothes, no food, no water. If he can survive for 7 days, he can come out. You can see the situation is not looking good. It's already very cold. It's getting colder. Now we get to this year, February 2025, in the occupied Makivka. The Russians themselves call it the cold pit, but this is a cellar in occupied Makivka. They imprisoned an entire command system of a specific unit. This guy who is filming is saying that there are 4 people in here: unit chief, staff, regiment chief of staff, deputy chief, the main medic, everybody's down there. This is a Russian unit, this is a Russian man in the Russian army, and he says sometimes some Russians come downstairs asking what's going on, what these dudes did, and he says nothing, and they just leave. They don't care why they're down there, and they don't care about releasing them. There's just a massive indifference. One of the Russian fighters here has no leg, as you can see. The men who come down asked why each of us was in a prison. We gave them the reasons and they left. They don't care, but they don't let them out. Now we get to the popular punishment in the Russian army number 2, which is tied to a tree. Must not be a tree, it can be a pole or whatever, but tied to something. Usually they tape soldiers to the trees. It is faster than a pit because you only need tape or metal wiring. For example, these Russian soldiers were chained to a tree because they got drunk on the front. And this next video we can see a whole squad being tied to trees with tape. A lot of tape, because you can see this one only gets his hands tied to the tree, but the next one, his entire body is taped to the tree. They cannot get away from there. There are wild animals at night who will try to attack them. There might be Ukrainian drones. Some Russian units specifically leave these refuseniks or drunkards to close to the 0 line where Ukrainian drones can hunt them. This punishment is in a way very similar to the pit because they are left for several days and of course they're beaten before. Popular Russian army punishment number 3, which is beatings. Of course, this goes to the 2 previous ones. They beat you before they tie you to a tree, and they beat you before they put you in the pit. But there are also separate videos of only beatings and no pit and no tree, so I felt like it has to be a separate category. In this sense, you can see black jacket guy with a Wagner insignia, Wagner school. He also has a platoon, or I don't know how you call it. The police have it also. And he's beating this soldier because this soldier drank on the front. I cannot show you the beatings, but he continues with it for quite a long time. Now I have a second part of this video also, which shows an entire squad of Russian troops who got drunk. They're not beaten, they're forced into a pit. But this specific pit is a metal hole in the ground. It's something agricultural, which the Russian officers have refurbished to a prison cell. Here you can see an entrance to their new earthy prison cell, full metal casing, and it can be closed up top, so it's very easy to guard and control. Popular Russian army punishment number 4, and this is digging the soldiers into the ground but leaving the head exposed. You can see it on the screen. I started seeing this kind of videos only in 2025, so this year. So I guess the officers got a liking to this method and started using it. Here you can see two soldiers who are being punished. One of them is forced to dig in the friend, and then the officer says that the next one, who is digging right now, will also be dug in. This is the 15th Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Russian Army. But in this next part of the video we see 9th Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Russian Army, and in this specific instance it is again one of these agricultural metal containers. Sorry, I don't know the name of it, but they're really easy to close and they're big inside, so you can use them as mobile prisons, as they do here. 3 men in a pit, no clothes, no food, and the officer is mocking them by giving them cookie crumbs. This next video I'm sure you've seen because it came out in November 2025, this month. What makes this popular is that this soldier is wearing a specific hat which has a text: "To be a soldier is to live forever." Can you guess why he was dug in like that? Well, of course, he's a refusenik. He refused to go on a meat assault. And now the final one, popular Russian army punishment number 5, you are dragged behind a car. Now most of these punishments have been around for thousands of years, yes, thousands. When there were horses and no Lada cars like we see in this video, I'm guessing they used horses. But this one uses a Lada car. Here is a refusenik who refused to go on a meat assault, so they put him behind the car, dragged him around on a field in the summer. All of the rocks, all of the dirt and the plants and everything will scratch you, break your bones. And after that, the soldier is freshly motivated to go on a meat assault. I've seen plenty of videos like that from 22, 23, 24 every year. They do this because it's fast, it's easy, it's simple. You can finish with one soldier with 1 minute. You don't have to wait for them to be in a pit for 7 days. So if a certain Russian officer wants fast results, this is what they'll do. But I also have saved a few honorable mentions for you which don't go into any of these categories. For example, a Russian soldier put into a doghouse. How do you call it? Where the tiny house where the dog lives. Put into the doghouse, is chained in there and is not fed, and the food is put very close to him but is not given to him. This photo, you can see a man who got drunk on the post and he is being taped to a boxing bag. I gotta give it to these Russian officers, they are creative. This man now being taped to the boxing bag, he became the boxing bag. I'm guessing the entire unit got to rehearse. And of course, there are plenty of cases of electrocution. One is here, I've seen them almost every year of the war. Again, I cannot show the whole process here, but they force the Russian troops to hold their own wires, and if they let go, they punish them even further. It's really bad. This next honorable mention, though, really surprises me, because where the hell did the Russian officers get a full jail block out in the woods? This is an entire jail square out in the woods on the front. Where did they get it? How is it possible? What did this soldier do? He went AWOL from his unit for 2 days, and when he came back, he crashed his bike, he was drunk, he did drugs, you know, destruction of military property, all of that stuff. So they put them in this jail, prison cell, But where did they get it? Do they have these lying around on the front? I don't think so. And the last honorable mention of the punishing method is a very peculiar one, because these guys here in the specific cellar, there's very, very many of them, they're being punished only because they lost a limb. They lost a hand or a leg. They're amputees on the front line. They're being held in these pig cages, and they're being formed into a specific cripple battalion, as they say themselves, and sent to waste up Ukrainian ammunition. This is very brutal, and the Russian officers don't let them leave because they see that their bodies can still take Ukrainian bullets, Ukrainian ammunition, so they're making specialized battalions out of them and keeping them as prisoners. I made that list for you so you don't have to do that gruesome research yourself, and I think we need to talk about these topics. The world needs to see what the Russian army is all about and what their values are. There are none. It's fear, chaos, extortion, and slavery. If you want to see more videos like that, subscribe to the channel to be notified. I'll be back for you on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Until then, bye bye.